Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. You've probably seen Rocket Mortgage's ads everywhere. They talk about low rates, quick approval, and all the good stuff. And yes, they have closed over 133,000 home equity loans, so they're clearly doing something right. But here's what caught my attention. You cannot borrow less than $45,000 with them, and when I started digging a little deeper, I found a bunch of other things that they won't tell you front and center on the website. So we're going to go over the best features, the pros, the cons of this organization so you can figure out if they're actually worth your time or not. So Rocket Mortgage has closed more than 130,000 loans. That's a lot. That tells you that they've got the infrastructure, they got the experience, they know what they're doing. But here's the catch. They don't mention upfront that there is a $45,000 minimum. So if you're thinking about borrowing $30,000 for a kitchen remodel or $20,000 to consolidate some debt, they won't even work with you. And that's just one piece of the puzzle. There's more we need to unpack here, so stick with me. Now, before we go into all these amazing details, it's important to know why Rocket Mortgage is even a candidate for your business. Now, traditional lenders can be a pain. You're scheduling appointments during work hours, driving to a branch maybe, filling out paperwork that feels like a novel, then waiting 30 to 45 days or more just to close. Oh, and you're paying 2 to 5% closing costs while you wait. That's $2,500 on a $50,000 loan just in fees. Now, most people don't add this up until after the fact. They don't realize how much time and money they're actually losing. So the question then becomes, is there a faster, easier way to do this without getting screwed on fees? That's exactly where Rocket Mortgage comes in. But hey, if we're just meeting, my name is Alex. I am a dad, husband, engineer, and my goal here in this channel is to help you build wealth and live with purpose. So if you find this video helpful, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and if Rocket Mortgage is for you, then check the links in the description. Now, with that being said, let me give you a quick background on Rocket Mortgage because they've been around since 1985 in Detroit, Michigan. They're not some startup. They specialize in home financing across the board. We're talking about purchasing mortgages, refinancing, home equity loans, the whole thing. And those 133,000 home equity loans they've closed, that's experience speaking for itself. They've also got a 4.7 out of 5 on Trustpilot with over 34,000 reviews. So people generally are happy with them. But does that mean they're right for you? That's what we need to figure out because reputation doesn't always match your specific situation. Now, here's a screenshot on Rocket Mortgage with the Trustpilot ratings, the reviews, and of course, how many loans they've originated, and of course, the main features that they offer. All right, so here's where Rocket Mortgage stands out. They claim you can get quotes quickly with low rates and fast approval. The whole thing's 100% digital. There's no branches, no appointments. They also say you can close in 20 days versus a 30 to 45 days process I mentioned earlier. You can borrow up to $500,000, which is way higher than most lenders who cap you at $250,000 or even $350,000. And they also accept up to a 50% debt to income ratio when most places won't go above 43%. So on paper, this sounds pretty good, right? They got a speed, convenience, flexibility, but does it actually deliver? And more importantly, why are they not telling you upfront? Let's get into those details right now. Okay, so now let's talk about borrowing limits. The minimum is $45,000, the maximum $500K. You can do terms of 10, 15, or 20, or even 30 years, and they're all fixed rates. And here's why this matters. That $500,000 maximum is actually really good if you're doing a major project, maybe like a full home renovation or consolidating a bunch of high interest debt. But that $45K minimum may be a problem for some people. Most competitors let you start at $10,000 or $25,000. So if you need $30K to redo your kitchen or pay something for something smaller, Rocket Mortgage may not be the best option for you. Now let's talk about how much equity you can tap into because your credit score makes a huge difference here. If you got a 680 credit score, you can borrow up to 80% loan to value. If your credit score is at 700, that jumps to 85%. And at 740 or higher, you can go up to 90%. So here's an example. Say your home's worth $400,000 and you owe $200K on your mortgage. That's $200K in equity. With a 680 score, you could borrow $160,000. With a 740 score, you could get up to $180K. That's a $20,000 difference just based on credit score. And here's the fine print. If you're applying jointly with someone, they use the lower credit score. So if you got a 760 and your spouse has a 685, you are getting charged on that 685. It's a little unfortunate, but that's just the way they run it. Now, closing costs are typically 3 to 6% on your loan amounts. So if you're taking out $200,000, you're looking at $6,000 to $12,000 in closing costs on top of everything else. Now, these costs don't include your down payment. And yeah, you might be able to negotiate with them depending on what kind of market you're in, if it is a buyer's market versus a seller's market. But here's the reality. Most people don't negotiate these as much as they should, and Rocket Mortgage's fees tend to land on the higher end on that range. And this is something that you gotta know. Here's a screenshot from the website saying how much they take, 3 to 6% of the loan amount. Now let's see if you qualify, because first you need a credit score of 680 or higher. Just do realize that the best rates will be at 700 or above. Second, they'll accept you up to a 50% debt to income ratio. That's actually pretty flexible compared to most lenders out there. And third, you need to have 10 to 20% equity remaining in your home after the loan. So here's an example. If you're making $8,000 a month and your debts total $3,200, that's a 40% debt to income ratio. But why does that 50% debt to income ratio matter? Because if you got student loans, car payments, credit cards, all the stuff that most people have, most traditional lenders would reject you even if you can clearly afford the payment. Rocket Mortgage gives you more breathing room there. Now, one thing to keep in mind with this product is also that the whole process is digital. You apply online within 10 to 15 minutes. You upload your documents digitally. There's no faxing, no mailing, none of that old school stuff. And they estimate you can close in 20 days or more, and the customer service scores are solid. Now, people generally like working with them, but here's the catch. There are no physical branches. It's online support only, so if you're somebody who wants to sit down with a person face-to-face and walk you through everything, that's not going to happen. For some of you, that's perfect. For others, it could be a deal breaker. It just depends on how you like to operate. Okay, so now let's go into the pros and cons, and let's give credit where it's due. Rocket Mortgage does some things really well. Those high limits up to $500K, that's generally very useful for a lot of people. They also have speed, closing in 20 days instead of over a month. Of course, this is an estimate. And there's also flexibility on that 50% debt to income ratio. That opens doors for more people who would get rejected elsewhere. Now, fixed rates mean your payments are predictable. There's no surprises right there. And of course, they also got good reviews, 4.7 out of 5. That's just consistent service. So most people are generally happy with this organization when they use them. Now, here's what they will tell you, at least right up front, right? There's a $45K minimum. So if you need less, you're out of luck, with some exceptions, of course. The fees are also relatively high. That 3 to 6% closing costs put them above the industry average. They also don't offer HELOCs, home equity lines of credits, only lump sum loans. So if you want the flexibility to draw money as much as you need it, that's not really an option with them. And they also have no branches, no in-person help whatsoever. So if you need a small loan, want the lowest fees, or like hands-on service, Rocket Mortgage isn't really ideal for you. This is important stuff to know before you commit to their application. So is Rocket Mortgage for you? Let's make this very practical. Rocket Mortgage is a yes if you need between 50 to 500K. If you want a fast digital process, you got a 700 credit score or higher. Maybe you got a higher debt to income ratio up to that 50%. Now, of course, it's not for everybody, and it may be a no for you if you need less than 45K. You want the lowest fees possible. You prefer in-person support, or you specifically want a HELOC instead of a lump sum loan. It's not really about whether Rocket Mortgage is good or bad. It's more so whether they match what you actually need, if that makes sense. Look, regardless of what you decide to do, here's what really matters. Always know what you're getting yourself into. Understand the pros, the cons, and the risks associated with any loan you take. Read the fine print, ask the annoying questions, take your time, because this isn't just about getting money. It's more so about making a decision that is best for you and your family. So if Rocket Mortgage is for you, there's going to be a link in the description that you can take advantage of. And if it's not for you, I've got links in the description for other options as well. Best strategy here is to match the lender to your specific needs.